Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming. We're back in London in Watch Dogs Legion, but once again not to play Watch Dogs Legion, just to make another. This is going to be a very small video about things in gaming. Like I said, it depends on what I've seen, what I've thought, and I'll try to watch as much as I can to get as much information as I can of what's going on in the gaming world. And this is just about one particular thing I've seen very recently, so it's going to be kind of a short video. For anyone interested, we're actually in London, obviously in Watch Dogs Legion, and we're in the South Bank of London, but it's night time, so you're not really going to. I'll go up here and you can see, there you go, we're near the Thames, central London, London Eye over there in the distance, but yeah. Anyway, so something I saw very recently on different channels and a few different places is various video companies, one in particular, video game publishers, are considering options to put advertising in games. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought when I saw it, and I was like, what the actual hell is that about? And I was, at first I was like, what? But then nothing that happens with video game companies or gaming would surprise me anymore. And I've gone through the bits and pieces I've seen online. I've read what the statements were from the company, and yeah, that's kind of what they're saying. I think the general gist I've got, and I think this is probably about right because this seems what they would do, is in sports games, and I don't really play sports games, but I used to a long time ago. I used to play EA sport games and Premier League Football Manager and things like that, but that was many years ago. But you get advertising because if you're playing a game, for example, in a English football stadium, there's going to be all the advertising hoardings around the stadium and the big TV screens that are going to have advertising. So you're already kind of used to advertising. It would be the same, I imagine, if you're playing in a cricket format, rugby format, Formula One, tennis, there's going to be advertising, there's going to be TV screens everywhere. So you're kind of used to advertising already. And so to add extra advertising that's real advertising into it wouldn't be difficult. And probably the people who play those kind of games wouldn't notice or wouldn't care. But the next extension to that would then be to add advertising into other games, and that's where it starts to get sinister and serious, because it may not impact on a sports game because you have half times and you have breaks in sports games, obviously, but naturally in sports games you do, or quiet periods, or in Formula One even you'd have like pit stops and things. So there'd be times where you'd have a break and there'd be commentators talking. So it's a different setup altogether. In any other game, and I'm not saying every game because I've not played every game, but let's just talk about Watch Dogs Legion. In Watch Dogs Legion, there's not, or The Witcher, Cyberpunk, Far Cry, doesn't matter. In any other game, there's not a natural break where you would have an advert. There's nowhere in. Yeah, you could have on that pillar there, you can have an advert for cornflakes, but it would just be a thing you'd run past and wouldn't notice, and I'm sure there are things like that in games already. So apart from a static advert that you'd have in a game that you just run past without paying attention, which I'm sure wouldn't be what they were thinking, there wouldn't really be anywhere to put them. So if what they're saying, and I don't know, and I don't think they've actually said, what they're thinking of is actually having game adverts or in-game adverts, which would be a break to the game, either before or after. That would be, number one, terrible. It would completely break the immersion of games, obviously. Wherever they put them, even if they put them at the beginning, it would be irritating to have to go through games adverts, and it might not be advertising games, it might be advertising anything before you played your game each time. And then if it became something during a game, that would be beyond immersion breaking and ridiculous. It also adds the possibility, which occurred to me straight away, is whatever they were doing and however they were putting ads in games, they would then, because of the way downloads work now and everything, they could then update the adverts whenever they wanted. So you could have new adverts all the time in games. You could have an advert for cornflakes one day and Ford cars the next day, and they could keep changing them. And also, which is another very dangerous thing that's happened recently, not in gaming, a trend in general in online media with Amazon and Netflix, etc., is to charge people to not have adverts or to pay for not having adverts. And that would obviously be another thing that people would do. They'll say, well, you know what, these adverts in game, but you know what, if you don't want it, you can pay not to have it. So there were many options to milk this possibility, starting with sports games, where they may not notice it, may be more natural, but I still don't think that's really fair. If you pay for a game, why should you be paying for advertising it as well? To the fact that they could drag it into normal games, and they could do it anywhere they want. They could charge you to not have the advertising if you didn't want it. They could change the advertising different times. It could be anything. You could have a premium edition with no advertising. And again, as with all these things that I talked about with gaming, that would be more relevant if you bought a movie, whether it be a physical disc, Blu-ray, DVD movie, or a movie download, because in general, at the cinema or even if you watch television, you have adverts in movies. So that wouldn't be such a shocking thing. But no one would buy a Blu-ray movie or download a movie to buy if halfway through you got adverts. Yes, I know in DVD and Blu-ray movies for a long time back, they have adverts at the beginning, but that's a different thing. But you don't have them halfway through as you would if you watched a movie on TV. And if you download a movie, you buy it from Amazon, you don't expect there to be adverts anywhere, and we wouldn't accept that. So in a media where that's not at all something you would have, unlike movies and TV, it's absolutely outrageous that they would even consider that. But as I've said many times, and as I said often, the theme of video game companies is basically let's screw people out of as many things as we can. And really honestly, I'm not again picking on any company, I think in general all video game companies, literally all, their premise to what they do is sitting down and whichever avenue they take, whether it's NFTs or in-game purchases or online multiplayer, pay to win, or whether it's skins, or whether it's DLC you pay for they don't put in the game properly, or whatever it is, all video game companies, their prime thoughts are how can we get more money out of people? How can we sell this product that we should just be selling as a product, and think of how to get more money? So think of how horrible and scummy this would be. They already have a game, any game, that they're charging DLCs for. There may be in-game purchase, I'm sure there are. There may be skins you can buy. There may be extra bits you need to add to the game that they're not selling with the game that you have to pay separately. There's loads of different versions of the game. And if you play it online, you may be able to pay to win and buy crystals or money that gives you extra storage space or extra weapons or whatever it might be. And after all that monetization is already in games that shouldn't be, they're now thinking let's put advertising in as well, because hey, we've not actually screwed people out of as much money as we could. What else can we do to get money? And it's absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. As I said in the previous video, all companies would like to make as much money from a product as they can, whether it's the cheapest product, it's a box of cornflakes, a pint of milk, or it's a laptop computer or a TV. But we wouldn't accept that from anybody else. If people that made a TV said, you know, we're going to sell you a TV, but actually any film you watch on a Samsung TV, you're going to get Samsung adverts drop in halfway through, which I'm sure they have a tech to do. Of course we wouldn't buy that. It would be ridiculous. And if you bought a toaster and it didn't have a lead to plug into the electric, and it was only an electric toaster, which I think they all are, there's no battery toasters, and they said, well, the lead's not really included, but you have to pay extra for that, we wouldn't accept it. And they would just be one item for their product. And they still wouldn't do that because it would be outrageous and you expect all the items to be included. But gaming companies want to screw people out of as much as they can all the time. Let's make more and more money. Doesn't matter if we've got one base product, doesn't matter how much it costs to make or what the quality is, and if it's got lots of crashes and it's bug filled and it's crap. Let's make as much money out of that as we can in any way we can. And it's not that games take loads of money because it takes loads of money to develop a car and it takes loads of money to make a movie. But when you make a movie, you sell it at the cinema, if it's a cinema level movie, or if not, it goes straight to DVD, Blu-ray or streaming, and that's the only monetization they can get. If you develop a car, that takes tons of money. You sell the car once you've made it, and other than you can have a deluxe edition maybe with some leather seats or some fancy engine, that's all you can do to monetize it once you've made the product. The same with everything else in the world except with video games. And the idea that they would put adverts into video games, even sports games, and it's not been specified it would only be sports games, is disgusting. And the fact they would put them possibly later on, and I'm sure they would, into other games would be beyond awful, because you'd end up with a product which already may be buggy and not fit for release, need loads of patches, not be a finished game, need extra DLCs to finish the game properly because they've not been in the game and they should be, and then they'd also have adverts. So it's just a thought about something I saw very recently, and I just wanted to make a quick video about it. Anyway, thanks for watching Guessagaingaming. Enjoy your day and take care. And if you are watching this, and I don't ever say this on this channel, but it would be helpful if people would subscribe, because it gives me an idea that I'm doing okay. So if you do watch this and you've liked any of the content, and if you do, I'd like you to go back and watch some of the other content I've made regarding video game industry, not necessarily the other games, then please feel free to do that. But yeah, like I said, I never say this in this channel, but if you do watch this and you like it, then it would be helpful if you would subscribe and like the content. Anyway, thank you very much and take care.